Hello, friends, and welcome to another edition of Get Woke with Danielle Moodie. Okay, so let's get into it, shall we? Earlier this week, I had the great fortune of showing up on MSNBC, and I was asked by MSNBC host Ana Cabrera about my thoughts on Democrats and the economy and on whether or not apparently Democrats need to be on the defense about it. Take a listen.
Sort of a delicate dance to do right now, where she wants to amplify her experience as vice president, but at the same time try to sort of distance herself from aspects of the Biden administration that may be unpopular, right? How does she navigate that?
I mean, I honestly, the parts of the Biden administration that are incredibly popular is the economy, right? This economy that they inherited was in the tank because of Donald Trump.
But why is Donald Trump winning on that issue when you look at the polls and voters?
Well, when we say winning at that issue, it's a narrative that's being pushed by Republicans who benefit from having a Republican in the White House. The country does not. And we see that historically when we look at the numbers. We see that every single Republican president that has come into office runs the economy into the ground. They do provide tax breaks for the billionaires, the ones that are sitting in corporate C-suites and the ones that benefit from them being in office. But when we look at how the people benefit, you see that every time a Democrat gets into office, they're the ones that have the shovel that are digging the country back out. And Joe Biden and Kamala Harris did that very thing after Donald Trump added $7 trillion to our debt in this country. 30 million people were unemployed when Donald Trump was in office. And so you see where our economy is now. It is the envy of the world after climbing out of the global health pandemic. And so, but the Biden-Harris team doesn't have anything to defend. They have everything to celebrate as this vice president is on the campaign trail.
You see, friends, the fact is that this is a narrative that is consistently perpetuated by mainstream corporate media and Republicans, right? Or maybe they're just one and the same. The reality is that Democrats, every time that they're in the executive office, guess what happens? They either leave with a surplus or a balanced budget. There are more jobs that are added to our country, right? And everything seems to go a-okay. But I've noticed something really interesting, and that's why I said it on MSNBC, which is that those that run the media, Wall Street Journal, Bloomberg, Forbes, CNBC, all of those outlets that CEOs and shareholders watch, they're the ones that continue to say that Democrats are bad for the economy because at the end of the day, Democrats are not good for the uber rich because their push is to make the uber rich actually pay their fair share. So this narrative, this lie, if you will, that is told on a regular basis by the media is perpetuated by the very people who actually don't want Democrats in charge because they don't want to come off of their taxes, right? Like they don't want to come off of and have to pay back what is owed. And so we need to break this cycle because I saw just recently, and let me pull it up for y'all, because just recently, Joy Reid posted on her Instagram, and I put it into my stories that said, here, let's list out the last several administrations, right? Republican and Democrat, beginning with Reagan. Recession, Bush Sr., recession, Clinton balanced the budget, Bush W., total economic meltdown, Obama rescued the economy and there was growth, Trump adds $7 trillion, as I said on MSNBC, to the deficit, 30 million people file for unemployment, Biden rescues the economy, provides a soft landing, and it is the economy that is the envy of the world. So again, we have to disrupt the media narratives that continually put Democrats on the defense. And so this is why I want you to take a look at Vice President Kamala Harris's economic plan that she just rolled out. Take a look at this image. We are talking about, right, very, very clearly, a plan that is about eliminating medical debt for people, right? Banning groceries and food price gouging, providing $25,000 for first-time home buyers, right? And the list goes on. So then I wonder, then why am I seeing headlines that say that, oh, Kamala Harris is good on vibes, but light on policy details? Where's Donald Trump's details? Where's his economic policy? I'm looking for it and I don't see it, because we would be waiting on that like we were infrastructure week for 4 years. But guess who got it done? The Biden-Harris administration. And oh, it was bipartisan. So again, I keep coming for mainstream corporate media because we have to understand they are not your friends, okay? They are not. They don't care. So take a listen to Vice President Kamala Harris at a weekly rally going in on her economic plan versus whatever the hell Donald Trump is offering.
2 days ago, Donald Trump was here in North Carolina. He said he was going to talk about the economy. I think you all watched. You know what I'm about to say. But he offered no serious plans to reduce costs for middle-class families. No plan to expand access to housing or health care. And that, actually, I think for most of us, was not surprising. Because we already know his plans. We know the Project 2025 agenda. So there's a choice in this election. Donald Trump's plans to devastate the middle class, punish working people, and make the cost of living go up for millions of Americans. And on the other hand, when I'm elected president, what we will do to bring down costs, increase the security and stability financially of your family, and expand opportunity for working and middle class Americans. So now is the time to chart a new way forward. Now is the time to chart a new way forward, to build
You see, this is why folks are getting so upset, because Kamala Harris is coming with the receipts. She's providing what it is that Donald Trump can't possibly do, which is substance on anything, right? But here is an example of what Republicans love to do. I know I don't want to get your blood pressure up, but you're going to watch this clip of Republican Representative Nancy Mace on CNN, because when they're short on substance, when they're short on policy, when their shit is not favorable, they got nothing else but insults. Watch how this went down.
Kamala's.
You had it right. You almost got it.
I will say Kamala's name any way that I want to.
No,
but
you mispronounced her and you also misjudged her.
I just did, and I'll do it again.
Mispronouncing her name.
That's
a
refusal
to acknowledge her humanity. If I purposely mispronounced your name, that would not be appropriate.
Policies.
But when you disrespect Kamala Harris by saying you will call her whatever you want, I know you don't intend it to be that way. That's the history and legacy of white disregard for the humanity of black people.
So now you're calling me racist.
I just said you weren't a racist.
That is complete.
You don't have to intend racism to accomplish
you are intending that
your disrespect of Kamala Harris is part and parcel of a tradition of disrespect.
Why can't you just, Congresswoman? Why can't you just?
I'm not calling you a racist. I'm telling you what the practice is racist.
You absolutely are.
Disrespecting. No, what's disgusting is your disrespect of her.
Professor,
this gentleman said, I didn't know her name. He's trying to do it.
Is her disrespect of women. She doesn't know what a woman woman is. And if 25 years ago,
white women don't have the ability to tell black women who paid the price of blood to make this country what it is to tell them they're not real women.
25
they
years
care
ago,
for your babies
25 years ago, I became the first woman to graduate from the Citadel, the Military College of South Carolina. I fought my way through it.
So pronounce her name right.
Sweat, and tears.
So pronounce her name right.
Kamala Harris. If
Kamala,
I were
Kamala. You said
I
this
will
before.
call you Nancy
Pelosi.
It's Kamala. You're doing this on purpose,
That's
Congresswoman.
disrespectful.
You can't expect people to
If
respect
a
your
man
service
put on
if
a
you don't
skirt
respect
and walked
hers.
that stage 25 years ago, she
You're a
would have
white
said
woman
she would
disrespecting
have
a
taken
black
that
woman. That is
achievement away from
problematic.
women.
Professor
That's
Dyson, let me get in here because I certainly take that, but I'm
and
wondering.
a lot of rich history
I'm
comes
wondering
out of my
about
district in
Trump.
South Carolina that I'm
Trump is
deeply proud of.
With respect.
Trump injecting Vice President Harris's race and then suggesting that she's not actually black. Why is he doing that? Should he stop?
Well, I mean,
yes or no?
I didn't hear him say it. I didn't hear what he said about her race. I am not going to weigh in on her race. As a woman,
He did say it.
Okay, well, as a woman, I want to weigh in.
She turned black, he said. He said she was raised Indian. Now she was Indian, all he knew. Now she turned black.
She's a mixed race. She's a mixed race.
He said that to the National Association of Black Journalists.
Right.
He went to, and he said at the same event where he said he'd done more for black people than any president in history.
Lord Jesus. Let me just say, Michael Eric Dyson and Keith Boykin, they have more patience than I do because, no, honey. I am not the one to be played with. They have the patience of a saint and a nun because you then want to turn around Nancy Mace and cry your white women Karen tears at being called out for your racism, but you want to be racist, but you don't want to be called racist because you think calling Kamala Harris anything outside of her name is somehow warranted when you want to throw around the degrees that you have. Then Michael Eric Dyson shoots back and says, then you should be able to know how to pronounce her name. Right? So I am going to call you what you are, which is a racist. You see, this is why they fall back on all of the slurs because they don't have anything to offer. So what they do offer is distract, and then have the audacity to say that, oh, this is warranted because Kamala Harris is inexperienced and isn't offering anything to the American people. Well, I just showed you the economic plan. But if you want to see Donald Trump's, just go ahead and thumb through Project 2025 and see where he wants to eliminate social safety nets, right? See where he wants to eliminate the Department of Defense, the Department of Education. See where he wants to eliminate the Affordable Care Act, because their economic plan is zeroing out the middle class, creating a larger, right, economic caste system in the United States, and putting people in positions where they're just lucky enough to have a job and then have a job that doesn't have any protections. Does that sound like an America you want to live in? It sure as hell doesn't for me. So when JD Vance most recently is asked, right, about whether or not Donald Trump should change his tactics, as many of his quote unquote advisors would like him to do, take a listen to what JD Vance says.
Coming off just of everything you just talked about, it seems like some allies of former President Trump have said in recent days he needs to focus more on policy, just like you talked about, less personal attacks. I'm curious, have you had that conversation with him, and does he need to pivot, especially when you look to swing states like Wisconsin?
I don't think the president needs to pivot, and if I told him that, I can guess what he'd say. I think that the reason that President Trump has been so successful connecting with Americans is even when they disagree with something that he might say, they know that he just is who he is, right? I'd much rather have a political candidate who I disagreed with 25% of the time, but was a real human being and was willing to speak off the cuff, than to have somebody like Kamala Harris who hides behind a teleprompter and doesn't speak to the American people directly unless she's got a script in front of her telling her exactly what to say. I think the unscripted nature of President Trump is one of the reasons why his campaign gives a pretty good insight into the kind of president that he's going to be.
I mean, right. Because what JD Vance shows us isn't masculinity. What he shows us is how you continue to bend the knee and kiss the ring, because he doesn't want Donald Trump to come for him. You see, that's the thing about these Republicans. They want to all puff up their chests, right? And call names and be like preschool children. And the reason why they continue to defend Donald Trump is because they don't have the ovaries to be able to take the attacks head on. So they would rather he attack other people and say that his language is okay because, quote unquote, the American people know what he's about. Oh, we know what that motherfucker is about. And he's about to be gone, because ain't nobody trying to vote for that. Okay. So here's how I want to wind up today's Get Woke, friends, which is this. There are all of these headlines that have come out talking about how the vice president needs to talk to the media. She doesn't want to talk to the media. She's not sitting down with reporters. Why does she need to sit down with the very reporters who drove her boss to drop out of the presidential race because all they did was harp on his age, that has called her everything but a child of God, and that do very little to defend our democracy and do everything that they can to play step and fetch it for Donald Trump and MAGA? Why would she sit down with them when she can go direct to the American people and release herself of the middleman? You see, the problem that media is having is that they're already becoming irrelevant because of platforms like the very one that you were on. You don't need to go to the legacy corporate media outlets that want to whitewash the information that you're getting. You now have the ability to go directly to the source and cut out all of the bullshit and the euphemisms. So what we understand now, and why I wrote my article at my friend Wajahat Ali and co-host of Democracy Ish's Substack, The Left Hook, the reason why I wrote my article that you see here, and you should absolutely go to his page and subscribe and like the post, is because I think that what Kamala Harris is doing and what the Harris Walls team is doing is showing us a new playbook that Democrats need to roll out. Use your social media channels and go direct to the voter. You do not need the media to spread your message when you can spread it your damn self. Okay? So maybe what she is doing is restoring our faith in democracy and just showing how irrelevant legacy media has become. So take a look as we close out today's Get Woke. I'm telling you, Kamala HQ is my new favorite social media handle. Okay. And they are on TikTok. They are on Insta. They are on the broke down Twitter called X. And they even signed up for Truth Social. So if you want to follow anything, follow Kamala HQ and take a look at their statement that literally made me cackle out loud. Folks, so before I let you go, I have a little announcement. I am super excited that I, along with Mary Trump Media, am heading to convention next week. And so exciting that you can follow me on my very own YouTube channel at Danielle Moodie _, where you are going to receive all content, all things Danielle. I'm going to be breaking down news analysis. I'm going to be bringing you Get Woke, which will also still be on Mary Trump Media. But you know what? I just have a lot to say. So you all go head over there and subscribe and like and get the content rolling and follow me along in Chicago for the week, because it's going to be wild AF. And I'm super excited to be bringing to you videos, shorts, interviews, and the absolute most. And for my friends who are waiting on their t-shirts that say "Miss Me," they are coming to you soon. But in the meantime, you can get on the bandwagon with The Future is Woke and head over to DanielleMoodie.com to the damn shop and shop my new capsule collection there. All right, folks, I am out of here. I will see you next time in Chicago for the Democratic National Convention. As always, power to the people and to all the people power. I'll see you next time.